Hello everybody, welcome back. Today's story will make you change your minds about what it means to be lazy. It is about a boy whom everyone thought would never succeed, but in the end, he really did prove that sometimes brains beat muscles. And along the way, we'll learn some new English words and expressions, so stay tuned till the end. Once upon a time, in a countryside village, there lived a boy named Leo. He lived with his parents in a small cottage of wood near the rice fields. Leo wasn't a bad person. He was just incredibly lazy. His job was simple. He was to keep the birds away from their crops. Most kids use slingshots or loud noises to scare the birds off, but Leo didn't want to run around under the hot sun. So instead, he came up with a pretty clever system of strings and sticks of wood. If he pulled one rope, all the sticks would shake and the birds would fly away. That way, Leo could lie in the shade while he was working. His father often sighed and said, "Leo, what will you do when life gets tough? You can't be lazy forever." But since the fields were always safe, his father did not complain much. Then one summer, a terrible drought hit the village. The sun burned the fields, and Leo's father fell seriously ill. For the first time in his life, Leo had to take care of everything by himself. He did his best, but his body was not accustomed to hard labor. Days passed, and the crops began to wilt and die. That night, Leo sat outside under the light of the full moon, thinking, "If only I had worked harder before, maybe things would be different." The next morning, he woke to the sound of people shouting in the village square. A royal messenger was announcing a great competition at the king's palace. What was at stake? A chest full of gold. Leo's eyes sparkled. That gold could save my family, he thought. He didn't waste any time and signed up. The villagers laughed and said, "The laziest boy in town wants to be a hero?" But Leo didn't care this time. Now he had a reason to try. 3 days later, the competition began near a huge lake. Strong men and brave women stood at the starting line. The rule was simple: cross the lake any way you can. The first 3 to finish would go to the next round. When the horn blew, everybody jumped in and started swimming hard. But Leo just stood there, thinking. He looked around and found several fallen branches near the forest. Then an idea struck him. He then tied the branches together with vines, making a small raft. Using another stick as a paddle, he pushed off the shore. "This isn't a swimming race," he smiled. "It's a race to cross the lake." While others got tired in the water, Leo calmly paddled across. By the time he reached the other side, he was 3rd place and officially in the finals. The next day, the king himself came to watch. Each finalist was given a huge wooden block. The task was to push the block 1 kilometer to the palace gates. They could choose only one tool to help them. The first contestant grabbed a rope and began dragging the block. The second used a wooden lever to lift and roll it. Leo stood quietly, thinking hard. Finally, he picked a small knife. The crowd laughed. He's going to cut the block instead of pushing it. That's exactly what he did. Leo began carving the edges, turning the block into a rough cylinder. After an hour of sweat and struggle, there he had it, a giant wheel of wood. No longer would he have to push. A roll would suffice. A determined grin appeared on Leo's face as he rolled his block down the path. The crowd was left gasping as he overtook the others and crossed the finish line first. The king stood up and said, "You may be lazy, young man, but you are also wise." Leo brought home the gold and rescued his family. From then on, he was no longer the lazy boy. He became the smart worker of the village. And what did he learn? That laziness isn't the problem. Lack of purpose is. If one has a strong reason, even the laziest person will work like a warrior. So remember, don't wait for motivation to find you. Find your reason, and the motivation will follow. And just like Leo, you can use your mind to turn weakness into strength. If you enjoyed this story, keep practicing English every day. Learning is like that wooden wheel. It gets easier once you start rolling. Thanks for watching, my friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next story. See you soon, and keep growing.